Dear all, thank you so much for 3,000 subscribers. I am beyond happy to have you with me, and the past couple of weeks have been so crazy in terms of channel growth. So today I wanted to take the time and give a little bit back to you and answer some of the questions in my first ever Q&A video. So without further ado, let's jump into some really interesting questions you guys have sent me. The first question came via mail, and the person asked, what are some of your favorite cycling related YouTubers? And well, that's a difficult question because there's a couple of really good ones. The first one is Kate Media, probably one of the OGs with Francis Kate, one of the first cycling related YouTube channels I've ever watched. And yeah, they just kept going and going over the years. And I think their videos are still great, even though they are a bit different than the ones that they made in the beginning. But yeah, what channel doesn't evolve over time? The second channel is one that you definitely know, and that is Trace Velo. Yeah, he's probably the OG AliExpress cycling YouTuber. Maybe one of the first ones to ever really publicize buying stuff on AliExpress, specifically for cycling and doing bike builds with those parts. So yeah, huge shout out to Trace Velo, even though he probably doesn't need it because this channel is absolutely huge. But yeah, that is my AliExpress cycling inspiration. And the third one is, even though he doesn't make videos anymore, he was probably by far my favorite YouTuber, and he was called FernWeh. He did a lot of cycling ventures, bikepacking trips, cycling vlogs in the Netherlands. Yeah, he was a Dutch guy. Really great YouTube channel, but I think he stopped about 2 years ago. So sad to see that. I wish there were more YouTube cycling vloggers. I think that was more like the genre that was very popular in the early days of YouTube and cycling YouTube. But there's a couple of them that go in a very similar direction, and I wanted to shout them out really quickly. The first one is Lawrence Carpenter, also a really big channel affiliated with Kate Media as well, as far as I know. Really great race vlogs, cycling vlogs, stuff like that. Then we have Grant Ritchie, quite a small channel that also has some really great production value videos on cycling, bicycle reviews, stuff like that. Really interesting channel. And the third one that is popping off quite recently is called Danji, if I say it correctly. Danji or Danji. He does race vlogs and just live vlogs that always have some kind of sports content in them. So yeah, also big shout out, really great channel. I love to see those videos. The next question came from Amy, and she asked, hey, do you have plans for the summer or any bikepacking routes you can recommend? Yeah, I definitely have. For the summer, I'm planning to take a couple of months off from work to just focus on YouTube and focus on having a great time cycling around Europe, doing a couple of bikepacking trips, some really great things planned for that time. So if you want to see that, definitely stay tuned for that. And when it comes to bikepacking routes, I have done a couple of bikepacking trips. One that I can really recommend is Northern Italy. The routes are really great, the drivers are usually pretty nice, and in general the whole Italian vibe is just very friendly to bikepacking. You just go somewhere, sit on a terrace, drink an espresso or an Aperol. You can sleep in an Airbnb or camp somewhere in mountains. Northern Italy has really a lot of variety when it comes to what you can do in terms of bikepacking trips and whatnot. So yeah, that is definitely a big recommendation. And the second one would be Denmark. I haven't done that one yet. I've lived in southern Denmark for a couple of years. I really love the area and I always wanted to do a bikepacking trip there. So I hope that will happen this summer. If you don't like the wind, that's probably not an area for you, but the scenery and being able to pretty much camp anywhere is really great. The next question came from Gregory2046. Hey mate, just wondering what glasses frames you are wearing. I think they look sick. Cheers. Well, thank you very much. They are from a company called Polar, and the model is called Gold 1128. There's a couple of online shops that have it. I also just got it quite recently, a couple of months ago. And yeah, I can really recommend. The quality is great and I also like how it looks. But yeah, thank you, and here's that. The next person, SuperRemy5508, asked, BB not greased? And that was in my last video, the AliExpress gravel bike build video. And yeah, let me tell you, you are right. I did forget to grease the bottom bracket. And when I'm filming these videos, sometimes I'm so occupied with thinking about, well, what can I do? What is the next shot? What should I say? What should I show? That I, sometimes forget the most important thing. And in this case, it was greasing the bottom bracket. But I went back and greased it now. So yeah, shouldn't be an issue in the future, but good catch. The next one, great build. What white grease do you use? From Albis128. The grease is called Finish Line Premium Grease. I will show it in the B-roll. It was the only one available at my local bike shop. I'm not sure if it's the best, and I'm not sure if I can recommend it. It's yeah, there's a couple of them out there. It was the only one they had. I just used it. The next question comes from Matayaraman 2005. Why did you choose to not go with the EvoSit pedals? I think he or she meant Crankset. They looked very nice, and also the same question came from a couple of other people, like Magic Razor 9. Did you end up changing the crankset from the original video? And yes, this was probably my first real controversy on this channel. Initially, I had a crankset from AliExpress, and lots of you, after I posted the first sort of part video, pointed out that the crankset looked very, very similar to one from a small company called Ingrid. And it was so similar that it was quite surely a ripoff or some sort of knockoff. And yeah, I did change it out for a crankset that I already had laying around. I really didn't want to portray the message that you can buy knockoffs and it's fine. It's definitely not fine. It's not morally right, and you shouldn't really support companies that do that. I know AliExpress is quite the breeding ground for knockoffs or stolen IP, but let me tell you, I will never be about willingly showing any knockoffs or any products that do any harm to companies or individuals. In this case, I didn't catch it, but it really showed me that I have to do more due diligence in the future on the products that I want to show on the channel, because I do have some sort of reach. So all I can say is sorry that it happened, and I will do my utmost best to make it not happen again. And with that, on to the next question. Hello, could you please post some AliExpress bike pedal reviews for both flat and clipless pedals? From Vinsanity168. Yes, thank you very much for your input. In general, if you ever have any input or any video idea, any item you want to have reviewed, please make sure to comment it down below or send me an email to QandA@nickynick.com. I would show it below here, and the email will also be in the description. I'm very grateful for your ideas and your input, and I will do my best to incorporate as many video ideas that you specifically request as possible. But yeah, if you have any idea, please let me know. I will try my best to incorporate it. The next question from Stigerik2314. You said that you went for the frame in size S. This was in the Mason resolution video. I am 171 and I am in between sizes when looking at the brand's bike chart. How do you choose the right bike size? And that is a really good question, because that is quite a difficult topic. Most of us will end up being in between two sizes. If not, you are very lucky. But for the rest of us, you have to make the decision based on what kind of bike you want to have. So in terms of the resolution, I wanted to have a fast and nimble road bike that is also great for longer distances. But my primary focus was having a sporty road bike, so to say. And if you size down, which in this case I did, I went for the sort of smaller size of the options. It offers you a lower top tube, which makes you sit a little bit lower, a little bit more sportier, and the handling is then also a little bit more nimble. So that's something to look out for. When it comes to the gravel bike, I did the exact opposite. I went for the larger size, and that is because I was focused on creating a very comfortable bike with a rather upright position, a little bit less of an agile bike, but focused on comfort. So when it comes to bike sizes, you basically have to see, what do I want to do with the bike and what size can offer the best benefits. So smaller sizes, more nimble, a little bit more sporty, and the larger sizes a bit more comfortable, a bit more upright. And the last question comes from Samino Existe. Hi, I have this shitty 3x7 speed decathlon bike with a 1134 cassette that's been seen better days. This bike was given to me for free and right now is my only commuter bike. I hate the 3x7 setup, but the gears are totally worn out and shifting sucks. What should I do? And well, you kind of said it yourself. You hate the 3x7 setup, so that is definitely where I would start. When you take a look at very cheap AliExpress group sets, even with the crankset, with bottom bracket, sort of like a 10-speed drivetrain, you can definitely get away with 70 to 80 bucks for a whole drivetrain with everything you need. So if you have the money, I would personally go for a whole drivetrain makeover. It is very difficult to take a 3x7 drivetrain and make it, let's say, 2x8 or 2x9. So the more long-lasting solution you would probably be to go for a whole group set swap. What you could also do, of course, is switch out the cassette for a bigger one to fit in the biggest cassette you can get and get away with the new chain and maybe a new chain ring if the rest is still fine. But you also mentioned that shifting kind of sucks. And if you have so many like small issues with the bike, I would definitely just go for a new drivetrain. You can really find some great value and cheap parts on AliExpress. And if that's something that is in your budget range, that is definitely what I would recommend. Also, when it comes to a commuter bike, I think it makes sense to always have the commuter bike as simple as possible because you need it to be very reliable. And what is reliable is have as few moving parts as possible. So maybe it might also make sense to take a look at a 1x drivetrain, maybe a 1x9 or 1x10. Still very great durability. Parts can be found relatively cheap also at every local bike shop, and you have less moving parts in the front with the front derailleur. So a little bit more of a safe option, I would say. And when you do that, go for something like a mountain bike cassette and a mountain bike derailleur that gives you a lot of range, even for very hilly terrain. That should be a very good option for that. Let me know what you think, and if you disagree, please put it down in the comments. I'm happy to discuss that topic, but in the end, I'm sure you will find a great option to have a great commuting bike for the future. And if you have any questions, yeah, let me know. And with those questions out of the way, again, thank you so much for 3,000 subscribers, and thank you for having such an active community. It's been really fun to discuss with you in the comments and making the videos that, yeah, you might be passionate about and that I am also very passionate about. I love cycling, I love gear, and yeah, this YouTube channel has been kind of a dream come true. With that being said, thank you so much and see you soon for the next video. Have a great week. Bye bye.